After a short break over the Easter period, the Falcons have put in an intensive week of training. They're all geared up for their game tomorrow night when they take on the Bullets at the Brisbane Entertainment Centre. The Bullets are the current champions of the National League, so a win would not only be a great morale boost, but would also push them up the competition ladder. According to assistant coach Dennis Kibble, record crowds are expected, perhaps as many as 12,000 people. He admits that the tipsters are putting their weight behind a win for the Bullets, but he says a win for the Falcons is by no means out of the question.
Played the Bullets pre-season, the pre-season tournament, when we won the Australian Classic in Sydney, and we defeated the Bullets there by about 10 points, and there's no doubt in the team's mind that we can certainly achieve that again. It would certainly put us up another notch in the league ladder, and would give us great confidence to come home for the following Saturday against the Illawarra Hawks, who are again a very tough proposition.
With soccer.
The Brisbane Broncos have shown devastating form in their Winfield Cup debut, culminating in last week's narrow win over Parramatta 24-18. They are the only undefeated team in the competition, a record the Knights are determined to break this weekend. Today, training was held in the hard but dry betting ring of the Broadmeadow Racecourse. Knights coach Alan McMahon, however, was not punting on the outcome of Sunday's game.
Well, it will be a pretty good test for them. You know, the Brisbane side are winning the competition, and I've had a couple of look at their tapes over the last couple of matches that they have played, and they've been playing pretty good football, and they're deserved leaders of this competition.
The Knights can take some encouragement from the Broncos' defeat last night at the hands of Penrith in the Panasonic Cup. In a game made clumsy by the rain, Brisbane couldn't stave off the Panthers' attacks, eventually going down 24-10. The Knights go into this weekend's game with a slightly different lineup from usual. A new face in the side is Muswellbrook lad Bobby McCormack. McCormack has the unenviable task of marking Wally Lewis in his first grade game. However, he is determined not to let the image of the Brisbane captain faze him.
Oh no, you can't let him overall, you know. I'll be going out and giving it my best shot.
So you're going to treat him as any other player?
Oh yeah, a bit more respect, but you know, just try and get him.
You reckon you can contain him?
Oh well, he's only human, isn't he?
Sunday's game may go to the team which performs best in the mud, as the almost continuous rain has left up to 3 centimetres of water on parts of the ISC. However, according to Knights official Lee Morn, the game will definitely go on.
I've been here for Friday night.
No, I think it'll be playable if we do get a little more rain, but if we get no more rain now, cross your fingers, this ground will be very firm underfoot on Sunday. It's an excellent ground. I don't think I've ever seen a better ground for draining away. It's built on sculls from the BHP way back when they built it 20 years ago, and it does drain extremely well. There are a couple of glue pots over the back that are caused by repairs that's been made over the years, probably with the wrong sort of soil, I guess. And they are glue pots, but the basic ground will be as good as
a fair bit of fundraising and then getting ourselves ready.
Colin Beashel is certainly no novice to sailing and is perhaps best known for his performance in the America's Cup. In 1983 he was part of the winning crew in Australia 2 and then was helmsman in Australia 4 in the last America's Cup. But he does not restrict himself to 12-metre racing. In the last Olympics, Colin sailed in the Star class and came in 11th. The Stars are the oldest of the international classes and are renowned for their strong and tough international competition. This year Colin is once again gearing up for the Olympics to be held in Seoul later this year. He has teamed up with Lake Macquarie sailor Greg Torpey, a local fisheries inspector, and the two hope to build themselves into a medal-winning combination. In mid-June they'll head off for 3 months in Europe, where they hope to get a taste of some fierce international competition. They will return to Australia for less than a week before once again heading off, this time for Busan, about 400 kilometres south of Seoul, the venue for their Olympic Sailing Challenge.
Well, we've certainly put the work in to do very well here in Australia. You know, we've won the States and the Nationals and the Olympic trials. But we're certainly going to come up against a much higher level of competition overseas. I feel we, with a little bit more practice, we can certainly elevate ourselves into a medal chance. There just isn't enough numbers in those fleets to raise everyone to a high enough level, where in Europe you're people are probably racing in fleets up to 30 or 40 boats per weekend. So there's obviously a much higher level than the competition we have competed overseas.
The Charmhaven Indoor Cricket Centre was certainly the scene of some fierce competition this weekend. Men's and ladies' sides representing the 8 zones throughout New South Wales competed in a round robin to find the top zone sides in New South Wales. 30 games were played during the whole weekend, and today were the finals. In the men's, Sydney Metropolitan South clashed with Sydney Metropolitan North. In a fast-paced game, Sydney Metropolitan South managed to down its opponents 71 to 41. In the ladies, the result was even more marked. The South Coast Highlands managed to defeat Sydney Metropolitan South 103 to 35. During the entire competition, selectors were kept busy hand-picking a team to play in the City versus Country Championship at Port Macquarie on April 23 and 24.
The selectors today are choosing the 2 country sides, the 2 city sides, and they will clash at Port Macquarie in a fortnight's time. Now, arising from these 2 series of matches, the state sides will be selected to play in Melbourne in June.
The barricades went up on High Street this morning as engineers made final plans for the start of a 6-month project to turn the street into an open-air mall. High Street is at least as old as Maitland, and the townspeople, along with Mayor Peter Blackmore, recognise the historic significance of their decision.
High Street Maitland has been here for approximately 130 years. It started off as a bullock track. There were steam trains running up the middle of High Street, and as of today, that will no longer be the case.
Shopkeepers decorated stores, Australia's only Cockney Pearly King kept the crowds entertained, and the youngsters donned period costume. The Mayor opened a bottle of bubbly before inviting school children to give waiting heavy machinery a bit of a wash. The serious work starts next month when water mains, gas and telecom lines will be dug up and relocated. Then the road will be resurfaced with paving stones. Obviously, all that work won't be a pretty sight, but mall manager Pat Claridge says shopkeepers are prepared to put up with the construction for the vision to be realised.
Storekeepers will survive quite nicely if they get involved in all our marketing concepts and our promotional concepts. The main promotions, of course, will start as from September when the mall is officially opened. But to see a city being reborn is very interesting. It's a very proud time, I believe.
It's still going to be a lot of mud and it's going to rain.
Sure.
Good afternoon, I'm Belinda Borisow. The Newcastle Steelworks rod mill is now one of the most up-to-date in the world, following the completion of a $57 million project to upgrade and convert it. Meanwhile, BHP authorities say the latest report from the Steel Industry Authority is unbalanced in its comments on production losses.
For all the news, join us tonight at 6.
In a brief and impressive track career, Snippets has earned more than $1 million from 14 starts. Although he's a Queenslander, Snippets was moved to more suitable conditions in Newcastle with trainer Max Lees. He'll run his final race on Saturday week in the Rothmans 100,000 back where he started in Brisbane. Then he returns to New South Wales for duties at Mike Willis's Transmedia stud near Cootamundra. It's believed Willisy owns 20% of the stallion, for which he paid $400,000. Today's exhibition gallop with stablemate Investor just hinted at the extraordinary gifts of this born winner. Max Rees, who once trained the legendary Luskin Star, says horses like Snippets only come along once in a while.
Just a bit of a freak, I think, you know. He's just a strong horse and he's got that much speed. Like when Peter Cook got off him there a minute ago, he just said the other horse was no use to him at all. He could have been 5 or 6 lengths in front of him early, you know, and he had to fight him to hold him back to him.
Right. Now, of course, Snippets is just about due for retirement.
The college was founded in Armidale by the then Bishop of Grafton and Armidale, Dr. A.V. Green. In 1926 it moved to Morpeth and has since grown to be one of the most important training institutions for Anglican churchmen in Australia. And soon it may be training church women as well. The issue of the ordination of women is one of the most controversial currently facing the Anglican Church. Although women are still barred from positions of teaching, many believe it is only a matter of time until that ruling is reversed. Amongst proponents of that view are the Archbishop of Perth, the Most Reverend Peter Carnley, and the Archbishop of Adelaide, the Most Reverend Keith Rayner. Archbishop Rayner does not believe the issue will split the church.
Undoubtedly there will be some people who, because they have conscientious objections, will have to think about where they stand in the church. I certainly don't expect there'll be a major split. There's been a long period of discussion about it already. There will be further discussion, and I think we shall see a growing together in due course.
Archbishop Carnley, where do you stand on this issue?
Well, I share the same views as Keith on this. I noticed that in the polls about 69 or 70% of Anglicans say they're in favour of the ordination of women, and I think there has been a growing consensus over the last decade. And I think if the Church conducts its affairs in a careful and prudent sort of way, there won't be a split.
Both archbishops are at a clergy school which began today with a church service presided over by Bishop Holland of Newcastle. Over the 3 days, more than 100 clergy from across the region will listen to lectures and take part in discussions on such themes as women's perception of ministry and the identity of Anglicanism.
It was enough to bowl a maiden over. Mock caps, long skirts and aprons replaced traditional whites at the Tomago Club. The members had been given special permission to dress colonial style to celebrate our bicentenary. In keeping with the sentiment of Friendship Day, it was open house at the club, and bowlers travelled from as far afield as Geraldton in Western Australia. A piece of Newcastle's history was also restored to its rightful place today, at the top of Customs House. The time ball was installed in 1877. At precisely 1 o'clock, it would fall so that ship's captains watching it drop could accurately set their chronometers. Since then, it had fallen into disrepair, but thanks to the company of master mariners, it has now been restored.
We're extremely satisfied to see it up there again. It's been a wonderful, the result of quite wonderful response from all the industries, mining, shipping and commercial in the area, and also from some of the public.
The Copper Sphere will mark the hour for the first time since its restoration early next month, during the Queen's visit to the city. Newcastle's Maritime Museum at Fort Scratchley has always been run on a shoestring budget. Most exhibits have been donated by local people and others are just on loan. For the hard-working staff, the recent spate of thefts are a real blow. According to Pip Linnell, the museum's curator, it was a theft between Sunday night and Monday that was particularly devastating. She says the thieves were selective and stole irreplaceable navigational equipment, including a case of 18th century drawing instruments, 4 sextants and an ebony and ivory octant.
There are items that a collector would really enjoy having, but another thing that we've lost is a set of drawing instruments that was used by Captain Allen, the first harbour master in Newcastle. So how do you replace things like that?
Police have also charged 2 juveniles and a 20-year-old man in connection with a separate break-in at the museum. Overseas competition was expected to push bidding close to the $3 million mark, but according to Mr Ken Toombs of Baillieu Knight, it failed to reach its $3.5 million reserve. It's now being offered for sale on the open market. Portions of the mansion date from 1827. Perhaps the most striking feature is the tower, designed by German-born architect Friedrich Menkens. The auction coincides with the Menkens exhibition at the Hunter Heritage Centre Gallery. It's promoting the significance of Menkens architecture to the region. He was the leading architect in the Newcastle area in the 1880s. His work ranges from his more decorative to works of his commercial transitional period. Many of the buildings, such as the Boltons and other homes, are outstanding examples of his domestic architecture. But all around Newcastle there are buildings which enables Menkens to live on through his work.